So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, a refined and the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage. So then we can understand the time of the end, per Yeshayahu the prophet, we find in the 61st chapter a layer of understanding related with the spring feast, autumn feast, and returning of the cities of the Messiah laid waste for many centuries. And then also the transitioning of the governments, then understanding the direct trade as used to be during the time of the holy cities, namely then from the time of Yohanan until 1009, indicating then the importance of the governments and the understanding of this factor. As we understand a few days ago, the Chinese already set up in space equipment up there related with exclusivity only for trade. So then as the governments are then involving themselves in trying some sort of a union of what they used to know in the past, obviously it's not going to work. So then there are a few factors very importantly understanding during this time where then the cities of the Messiah primarily then are returning. Secondly, then the economies of the world lining up themselves for direct trade, very known in the Pacific. This time then we find many realms, for instance in New Zealand, the understanding of the new center, or then the convention center related with casino and gambling and the such. Honestly, comparing with the time of the trade coming in a very near future, it's an absolutely waste of time. So let's evaluate why. Obviously then, when we understand the volume of freight, you have to understand a linkage with investments. But thus far, investments are always related with companies and companies investing for you. So then generates the system of then a person working, earning, given to a mid person, then investing for you, and then generating a third person in the system. So then generates then areas of entertainment, areas of tourism. But then when you reverse this area, always understand that the mid person always earns more than the person investing. Then you begin to change your way of thinking. The Chinese, very wisely, they did understand after the event of the computer. For instance, stock exchanges around the world was then rendered obsolete because the computer can do the work. As long as the factories are then provided with the raw materials in producing, the exchanges are no longer required because it's done directly via the system. So let's understand why this casino then or convention center won't do very much because of the simplicity. Do you think with so many areas of investments, of thousands upon thousands of products available in the Chinese market where you can invest, would you be spending time gambling? Only if you are real stupid. You would be in your computer evaluating what products would be then sold the most, and you would be investing. Because every time you invest on those products, you then receive. It's no longer gamble. It's mathematical certainty. So let's try understanding, quote, the white elephant of these huge projects, where then they understand at the end of it, those are obsolete. So then rather than wasting time in these kinds of projects, what can a person understand as far as the trade of the end, ports, airports, and the updating of those? Are those not more important? So then the whole understanding thus far is always related with a person giving the money to a company or an investor and doing it for you. But then the mid person always earns more. When you do yourself, then places you in a position where the more you do, the more you earn. Thus then the Chinese set up in space in equipment providing direct trade around the world, not only the Pacific. Though they deny the fact of having this particular equipment in space only for the Pacific region, but they understand it's worldwide. Understandably, the BRICS, this system must require then a way of investment, a way of transactions, where then this equipment in space provides worldwide information via the computer, where you can do direct trade. So then these render these areas of gambling, for instance, and tourism, those fancy areas where these countries used to know, because of the mid-man or the mid-person, renders absolutely at no use. So would you spend then the earnings of the country then in areas where then they know that they won't require it? You're not going to be in front of a machine playing around and wasting your money. Rather, you're going to invest it. You invest on products where you project where then the product is going to be used at. Understandably, those countries of the BRICS, they're going to target those undeveloped countries where if you have an understanding of development, you understand what it takes to get a home built, an industry built. Then those products related with infrastructure, that's where you invest your money, but you invest in the product, not in the company. The company do take your money and invest themselves, but you have a record of the number of products sold, and you get a share of it. Would you not spend more time in the computer? Or would you take your money and go into a casino? So the question is evident by itself, answers itself. So thus far then we find many areas of the world already provided with this equipment in space. Obviously the Chinese would never make the claim it's worldwide, but we do know that's worldwide because of the event of the BRICS. Let's say you have a system that nobody else is then have, and you go over there and you invite some very important countries to become part of it, and then you place an equipment in the space only targeted for the Pacific. So then we understand we are simply awaiting a time of the downloading, and the economies of the world are rendered at no use if they don't know how to track it, how to set up policies of transfers. Then they're going to force themselves to adopt the Chinese system in their very own countries. So it's very important understanding the simplicity of the system coming, because the most important is then raw materials, transportation of raw materials, fuel, and then upgrading of ports and also airports. As very wisely, England is already then upgrading their airport with 4 more lanes. Very wise. They understand absolutely the volume of freighting is going to quadruple or more. So prior of the starting of the system, they are preparing themselves. Extremely wise. And they have the yen already in their exchange, making it further advancements. And then, as far as investing in casinos, the new system, it's no longer a casino. It's always a positive investment, where rather than you waste your money in casino or in gambling, you invest in your own system. And you receive every time. As the technology then comes up with new equipment, new technology, then you can project what countries would be on the line buying those products, and you invest in those products. So if you want a way of more income as far as tourism is concerned, you can simply understand the factor. If you build a cruise ship, you should have a capability of internet, broadband for the system. So then while people are then on vacation, the same time they are on their computers. If you have a limousine, should have also a signal in it. Beaches and so on and so forth. But a convention center with a casino, absolutely waste of time and money. Because the economies are no longer gambling. So in the state of mind of understanding, the equipment is already in space. And direct trade is coming. Liking it or not, the download is coming. So let's be prepared for it, because the equipment up there is not only for the Pacific, but worldwide.